Good evening. This is Daily Crime in local news. We are live today in the community, highlighting the residual effects of the volcanic ash that fell for the past few days as the country was reopening. The country is partially opened and the cleanup is ongoing. Barbadians are asked to wear protective gear and be careful while cleaning because the ash is a health hazard and very slippery when wet. The ash can be stored in buckets and heavy-duty garbage bags to be picked up by the authorities to be disposed correctly. Road users are reminded that the country is gradually reopening from the last COVID-19 pandemic closure. Therefore, traffic is again heavy on our roads. Speeding cars and wind are distributing the ash and polluting the atmosphere. We will now head back inside for regional and international news. On the international scene, a gunman has killed 8 people in the US. There were shots fired at a FedEx ground facility near Indianapolis main airport late Thursday night. Indianapolis police identified the gunman and stated that the former 19-year-old FedEx employee by the name of Brandon Hole shot, killed, and wounded several persons. Hole was found dead with what is believed to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. In March 2020, Hole's mother told the authorities that her son might attempt suicide by cops.
This morning, as the country reels from yet another mass shooting, many looking for answers on what, if anything, will be done. The Indianapolis shooting at a FedEx facility, leaving 8 people dead, followed a series of high-profile tragedies, including at a cabinet warehouse in Bryan, Texas earlier this month, a business complex in California April 1st that left 4 people dead, at a grocery store in Boulder, Colorado, and a string of killings at spas in the Atlanta area last month.
It's a national embarrassment.
Authorities in Indianapolis are focused on Brandon Scott Hole. Police say the 19-year-old, who used to work at the FedEx warehouse and took his own life during the attack, used 2 assault rifles purchased legally last summer. Months earlier, police had confiscated a shotgun from Hole after his mother had raised concerns about his mental state. Indiana's red flag law allows police or courts to seize guns from people deemed a danger. But authorities say Hole was not submitted to be flagged. The Biden administration is urging states to adopt and reform those red flag laws, part of a number of measures Biden introduced after the Colorado shooting, but the actions were limited. Democrats are pushing for more, including an assault weapons ban. But gun control is usually gridlocked in Washington, with some Republicans arguing Second Amendment rights need to be protected.
Every time there's a shooting, we play this ridiculous theater.
Back in Indianapolis, vigils for 8 lives, as yet another community looks for answers. And the shooter's family released a statement this weekend which reads in part, "We are devastated at the loss of life caused as a result of Brandon's actions. We tried to get him the help he needed." Meanwhile, 4 of the 8 shooting victims were members of the local Sikh community, and I was told that some family members in India are now making travel arrangements to bury their loved ones.
All right, Kathy Park Forrest there in Indianapolis. Kathy.
In regional news today, many regional neighbors are shuttling supplies by boat to St. Vincent to assist in dealing with the much-needed supplies due to the recent eruption of the Chirstopher volcano, which has severely impacted inhabitants. A boat taking supplies from St. Lucia to St. Vincent sank when it was almost at its destination. Though all the supplies were lost, thankfully the 3 persons on board were rescued by another boat. However, this will not halt the assistance being provided. We continue to encourage member states of CARICOM to keep contributing and praying for our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent to get back to a normal way of life.
We're here at the Munishwar's Wharf, where the MENA vessel with the capacity to hold over 300 tons is being laden with supplies for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Large packages of rice, water, face masks and food supplies were stacked high at the Munishwar's Wharf, where members of the Civil Defense Commission, assisted by ranks from the Coast Guard, worked tirelessly to load the Miss MENA vessel with more than 300 tons of needed supplies for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Guyana's CARICOM sister is still reeling from the aftermath of the La Soufrière volcano eruption on April 9th. The volcano, dormant since 1979, started showing signs of activity back in December. Now Guyana, like other nations, are continuing efforts to provide much-needed supplies to the Caribbean nation.
Coming up next, we have sports.
Thank you, Burgess. Good evening. My name is Antwuan Gill, bringing the sports to you. In the football world, PSG knocks out last season's cup winners, Bayern Munich on away goals, moving towards the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. Here's a look at this coverage.
Maar bijna iedere aanval van Paris Saint-Germain is levensgevaarlijk. Müller. En hier de kans. Choupo-Moting. En dan zie je het inderdaad gebeuren. Dan wordt het 0-1. Het is ongelooflijk. Het is tegen de verhouding in. Maar ja, wie maalt daarop aan Duitse zijde? Erik Maxime. Choupo-Moting maakt er 0-1 van. Thomas Müller.
Moving towards the semi-finals, we have Premier League's Manchester City facing last season's finalists PSG, and Premier League's Chelsea facing the 2017 to 2018 season cup winners Real Madrid. In other news, the UEFA Europa League has also reached the semi-finals, with Premier League's Manchester United facing Series A's Roma and La Liga's Villarreal facing the Premier League's Arsenal. Here's a look at the quarterfinals game between Manchester United versus Granda. Let's take a look at this coverage.
Tonight, Pogba, Cavani! His 50th European goal. Edinson Cavani, clinical. 1-0 United, already on the way to the semi-finals.
And that was definitely one of them.
Comes a dangerous cross, the header, well saved, David De Gea. Tellez with the cross, Mata there, but it's an own goal.
Yeah.
An own goal. Vallejo turning it past his own goalkeeper. Manchester United through to the semi-finals of the Europa League again. Finished here at Old Trafford. United 2, Granada 0.
Finally, in the football world, the Premier League table stands with Manchester City leading with 74 points. Manchester United trailing behind in second place with 63 points. Trying and hoping to secure a spot in the UEFA Champions League next season. In third, we have Leicester City with 56 points, with West Ham United in fourth, trailing by just 1 point. This remains to be the top four currently. With only around 6 games left, Manchester City seems clear to be the 2020 to 2021 Premier League winners, with Manchester United seemingly securing second place. With a number of games to be played, 5th place Chelsea, 6th place Liverpool, and 7th place Tottenham all fight to make top 4 in the Premier League. hoping to gain a place in next season's UEFA Champions League. And that's it for sports. We will now have a word from our sponsors, and when we return, we have Malik Springer with the business report. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Malik Springer, and this is the Business Report. NASA has selected SpaceX to build the next generation spacecraft that will return humans to the moon. The $2.9 billion contract was announced on Friday, the 16th of April, while spearheading the Artemis program, NASA's project to return to the moon for the first time since the Apollo mission in 1972. The Artemis lunar landing is a key piece to our Moon to Mars strategy. Steve Jurczyk, acting NASA administrator. Today is a big step forward. This is an incredible time to be involved in human exploration for all of humanity, Mr. Jurczyk told reporters. Elon's company is currently the only operation in the US that has the capability of launching astronauts from US soil. With NASA's decision to go with a sole contractor for its Human Landing System, HLS, raised eyebrows. Traditionally, the agency preferred to stimulate competition and protect against setbacks by keeping at least 2 contractors on the payroll. In Barbados, one security traded firm has 598 shares traded on the regular market with a total value of $1,315.60. Goddard Enterprises Limited was the sole security trading 598 shares at $2.20 apiece. Emira Incorporated Directors have fixed March 22nd, 2021 as a record date for the determination of shareholders entitled to receive notice of the general meeting of the company, which will be held on May 20th, 2021. That has been the Business Report. We will now have Chirstopher Mcclean with the weather update.
Thanks, Malik. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the local weather news. Weather experts are still tracking the effects of the La Soufrière volcano in St. Vincent, as there has been word of another series of eruptions which took place in the earlier hours of this morning. We urge you all to stay tuned to any communication channels for any warnings regarding ash plumes possibly headed for the island. Relatively fair weather conditions today with clear skies, and it will continue to be so for the rest of the day, with a maximum temperature of 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 28.8 degrees Celsius, and dipping to a minimum of 78 degrees Fahrenheit, 25.5 degrees Celsius as night falls. Relative humidity is at a steady 60%, with the current temperature hovering around 79.8 degrees Fahrenheit, 26.6 degrees Celsius. Still pretty dry all around, as a high pressure system remains a dominant feature over the island, and conditions are expected to remain this way throughout the day into night. Sun is expected to rise at around 5:43 a.m. tomorrow morning and projected to set at 20 minutes past 6 in the evening. Our first daytime high tide is expected at 7:15, and the first expected low tide at 8 minutes past 1 in the afternoon. Seas remain moderate in open waters, with expected swells ranging from 1.5 to 2.5 meters. Winds will be flowing from the east-northeast to the east between 29 to 33 kilometers per hour. Tonight, fair to partly cloudy as of no rainfall is expected, and over the course of the next 3 days we also expect no rain with lots of sunshine, with also fair to partly cloudy weather as we look forward to a sunny weekend. And that is it for our weather forecast. Back to you, Burgess.
That's it for Daily Prime. Thank you, and have a good evening.